In the golden age of kickboxing, there was a sudden death elimination tournament, where 16 masters from all different backgrounds and styles came together to test themselves for honor and for glory. This was the legendary K1 Grand Prix, where the best talent all fought multiple times in one night to determine who was truly the greatest in the world. We began in the epic 1997 Grand Prix, where 11 of the 15 fights ended by KO. Rick Roufus was an American-style kickboxer with championship belts from several organizations. Years earlier, he had lost a fight to a much smaller Thai fighter due to his inexperience with leg kicks. Roufus had taken the defeat as an opportunity to grow as a martial artist, and had incorporated Muay Thai techniques into his boxing-heavy style with some incredible results. Jerome LeBanner had been in K1 for 2 years, and had already defeated such greats as Bernardo and Ernesto Hoost. Although he had a Kyokushin Karate background, he was inspired by Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do to fight with his dominant hand forward from southpaw. This resulted in a straight, powerful jab that helped him set up his tremendous power shots. It was anyone's guess how these two unique styles would play out when pitted against each other. Right away, LeBanner looked to snipe at Rufus's leg from long range. But Roufus came prepared with a tricky counter, using the retraction of his check to load up a counter punch. There are two good concepts at work here. The first is to look to punish opponents who are attempting to use low-risk attacks. And the second is that, against an opponent with greater reach, use any opportunity available to close that distance. Meanwhile, Roufus looked to use his long-range attack, a sideways teep sometimes known as a Thai sidekick. And this kick worked well on LeBanner, as he kept a very forward, squared-up stance. However, Roufus wasn't one to play it safe with long-range attacks. He connected with the throwaway roundhouse kick, but this was just to set up a crazy Superman punch that caught LeBanner flush. But LeBanner took the punch extremely well, firing back and keeping Roufus at a distance by threatening more long-range attacks. But it's always dangerous to throw the same attack too many times. Roufus took advantage, stepping deep inside to land a hard spinning back fist as a counter. But again, LeBanner ate the blow as if it was nothing. And when Roufus again looked to get into a slugfest at mid-range, LeBanner this time tied him up and landed a few short but punishing knees. It can be hard to tell how much damage a knee does because sometimes short shots that barely connect at all can still inflict a lot of punishment. But judging by Rufus's expression, they definitely didn't feel great. But Roufus was not easily discouraged. When his next barrage of punches failed to hit anything, he instead caught LeBanner with a front kick to the face. Even attempting this is traditionally seen as a bit of an insult, though much more so in Muay Thai than kickboxing. LeBanner, however, did not lose his cool. He countered Rufus's next haymaker with a well-timed kick to the lead leg. Although a rear hand attack like Rufus's does naturally brace the lead leg, it can still take some damage, and that can pile up over time. Roufus was playing with fire, but so far, it had been LeBanner who was feeling the heat. And this continued to be the story throughout most of the round, with Roufus sometimes catching LeBanner with well-crafted combinations, and LeBanner sometimes driving his leg into Rufus's base as he tried to engage. And both these things actually occurred at once, the two knocking each other across the ring like a comedic gag from a Jackie Chan film. But with only 30 seconds left, Roufus again landed the same counter-spinning back fist, the step inside both moving his leg out of the way of LeBanner's kick and putting power into his attack. So far, this had been a terrific fight, but it was clearly Roufus who was winning. LeBanner wasn't out of the fight, but he would need to adjust his strategy if he hoped to come out the victor. Round 2 began with a dual exchange, very similar to the ones in round 1, except that now LeBanner's counter kick found its way to Rufus's groin. After a brief break to allow Roufus to recover, the action resumed. To his credit, LeBanner now seemed to be wise to Roufus's crazy tactics, pulling to evade his spinning back fists, and even checking to block his follow-up spinning back kick. However, Roufus was still having success with his Superman punch. This time, LeBanner did not keep his cool, and his attempt at retaliation was immediately shut down when he slipped off of his own kick. But 2 minutes in, LeBanner did finally manage to return the favor, this time by pitting skill against skill. When Roufus threw a lead leg roundhouse, LeBanner attempted a counter with the switch kick, and when Roufus followed up with a punch off of the retraction, LeBanner now slipped and landed his own lead counter. The fight was getting even more interesting, as it seemed that every time one man landed, the other immediately returned a counter. Until one man finally pushed his luck too far. With half a minute left in the round, LeBanner attempted to take a page from Roufus's book, landing a punch off of the retraction of his kick. But then, Roufus took a page from Roufus's own book, landing a much harder counter hook off the retraction of his check. LeBanner was stunned, and Roufus didn't let the opportunity go to waste, immediately closing in and landing a hard hook to overhand combination. It was nothing fancy, but with LeBanner hurt, it didn't need to be. LeBanner went down, or almost did. He popped right back up, but the ref counted the blow as a knockdown and separated the two before Roufus could follow up with a full combination. By the time the count was over, so was the round. Now it seemed that all Roufus had to do was finish the job, but LeBanner had other ideas. With the knockdown in the second, he would most likely need a knockdown or knockout himself in the third and final round. Far from discouraged, in round 3, LeBanner seemed to almost be another fighter entirely. He began to counter Roufus's wide hooks with a much tighter jab, beating him to the punch. LeBanner's jabs were nowhere near as hard as Roufus's hooks, but they didn't need to be because they landed first and stopped Roufus from landing at all. And this held true even when Roufus was setting up the hook with a check or a kick. After a massively successful first 2 rounds, Roufus was now forced to go on the defensive. There was ample time for him to recover from the shots he had taken. But then, he made one very small, but very fatal mistake. LeBanner closed in and fired off a hard rear leg roundhouse kick. Roufus had been doing a decent job of checking or sliding his leg back the entire fight. And here too, Roufus managed to lift his leg in time to check the kick. But it didn't matter. With Roufus's check turned a little too far inside, the outside of his leg still took damage. Roufus stumbled out of the exchange, his leg now badly hurt, and LeBanner immediately went after it. It seemed that his leg kick may now have been LeBanner's last chance for victory, but time was running out. LeBanner went after Roufus's right leg like it owed him money, staying safe during every exchange and using throwaway punches so that he could put every ounce of energy into his kicks. Roufus fought back, countering LeBanner's jab with a hard overhand. Once again, LeBanner simply ate it and kept going. Roufus's back was forced against the ropes, and now that he was stuck, LeBanner let loose his hardest leg kick yet. Roufus was not knocked to the canvas. His leg simply gave out, and he toppled over like a felled tree in the forest. Roufus got to his feet, albeit very slowly. Although he put up a valiant effort, a few more leg kicks, and he was simply unable to move. The ref called it off, and now LeBanner was set to face off against the rest of the prelim winners. Only one man would be left standing at the end of the tournament, so stay tuned as we cover the rest of the epic fights to their conclusions. I'd like to give a huge thanks to Glory Kickboxing for providing me with this content. If you want to see the best kickboxing in the world, then tune in for Glory Rivals 1 on May 21st. This is a collaboration between Glory and other prestigious kickboxing organizations. The headliner of this event will be Glory welterweight Harut Grigorian versus Infusion champion Nd Simlaer. From the Modern Martial Artist, this has been David Christian, wishing you happy training.